take this too. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Definitely gonna need to catch my breath on that one, so let's take some three deep breaths together with some noise on the way out. But no, none of my talking in between. We're just gonna keep going. So, deep breath in. Deep breath in. One more nice, really deep breath. Hey, Michelle. Welcome. Get a little bit more moisture. So you've been with us the past few weeks. We've been doing a series called Beyond Thought and Vision, based on some lessons in the Course in Miracles. And everything leading up to today as we climax or close this, because this lesson will continue on and on and on. It just keeps changing its form, trying to remind us that thought creates absolutely, which most of us in the metaphysical community believe, but that we are always creating by default or by pure thought. And, oops, wrong way. And pure thought creates purely. And fear thought creates the garbage that we've suffered through in our lives. And the whole premise of all that this whole series is that I give all the meaning to all the things I see out there, and by virtue of the thoughts that I'm having and creating a world without God, when I'm standing there in my own private little mind, creating in what I think are private thoughts and they're really separate thoughts. Because when I bring God to the game, or whatever translation works for you in your body, then I'm always going to be bringing the purest of thoughts with me and the purest of vision with me to create this reality that I want. Now, the reality that I want is not just my wanting, it's a collective wanting. And when we go to the essence of who we are, we realize that those similarities come up in all of us. That's when we know we're thinking with our God mind, with that higher self mind, with that sacred, holy, pure part of us. You know, long time ago in our lives, we may have heard of the devil, and as we moved forward in our own enlightenment, we kind of dropped that term. But we picked up another one, and we called it fear. It's the same thing. So for playing devil's advocate, let's bring that word up for a moment, just for fun, to personify a character, and say, is my thought a God thought or a devil thought? Just to make it real simple. We've always, seen the caricatures of the little devil on the shoulder, or the little angel on the shoulder, and the devil made me do it. And with all that innocence and playfulness, it's more profound, because within us we do have the both. We have either a pure thought or that angel thought. We have that one that is eluded in separateness, eluded in darkness, eluded in the fact that I am the only one here and I create this mess all by myself. Well, actually, that's the truth. I do create the mess by myself. So as we continue with today's series, we're going to go right into lesson 54 for people who want to maybe refer to this later on. I have no neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They either will make a false world or lead me to a real one. But thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world arise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither true nor false. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are. Just that last line alone, what I see shows me which they are. So if I'm seeing suffering in my life, I know where I'm hanging out my thoughts. If I'm seeing joy in my life, I know where I'm hanging out my thoughts. And as part of this one, it says, as the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world arise right before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. So will the real world rise before my eyes. I didn't have to do it. It will rise before my eyes. All I have to do is think of that pure thought. And again, I'm going to go over this a bazillion times, for people who've heard it, and for people who may have never heard me define purity as simply an unobstructed flow. It's not about holy, we're all holy. It's not about reverend, we're all reverend. Sacred, we're all sacred. You cannot de-holy yourself. You cannot disconnect from your holiness, but you can be disconnected from experiencing it. And that's a lot of what this is about. There's nothing you can do, even with all the dogma of certain religions that want to call things like mortal sins and turning your back, it's still all redeemable. But on page 1013, there's a redeemable clause. So there's still always going to be a redemption for us to come back to that self, or to reconnect to it. And this is saying that no matter what I think, there's no thought, there's no neutrality here, that I'm still affecting the world. Part of what I wanted to do in meditation, I changed my mind because of the time frame of it, was to invite us to look where our thoughts added either misery or joy to the world. Discomfort, discord, or harmony, if you like to look at it that way. Because sometimes that word misery has a charge on it, and then we feel guilt and all that crap. It's like, how about just discord or harmony? If we're all in the same band, making music together, what am I lending? Am I lending to discord, or am I lending to the harmony? Just in my thoughts. Because there are no neutral thoughts. I'm either creating a false world or a real world, and that's what this is reminding us of. Just simply reminding us of. We were talking in Course of Miracles group this week, and we're talking about we have more unlearning to do than we have learning to do. Because the knowing is within us. It's just buried by all the gunk that we've learned and put on top of it. Because that's not what real thoughts were about. That's why I said last week that this isn't for sale with metaphysics and New Age, because New Age and metaphysics and New Thought have gone a separate way again in their own selves, because it's become another religion and another industry. So we have to be really, really wise when we're calling ourselves metaphysicians and things like that, to be aware of sliding into that false world by virtue of the different thoughts when they're using the language that seems to vibrate with us so brutally. Yeah. So just understand that, and this is again without judgment. And that's one of the biggest keys to remember, without judgment, because we quickly want to go, oh, it's wrong. No, it just serves us. How about that? It's impure. There's an obstruction in your pipe. Don't you want full volume of all the water flow out of your pipes? It's not good or bad, unholy. It's just if there's an obstruction there, I don't get all the water. The same thing with spirit. If I get an obstruction, I don't get all the joy of spirit. And that's what this is kind of telling us, in that there are no neutral thoughts. If I'm clogging up my pipe, I'm clogging it up for me and for you, because we're all one. We are all related. That's why I wore my McCarthy Austin shirt, because it sums up this whole program, this whole series, that we are all related. So what I do does affect you. What I think does affect all that is. I see no neutral things. What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist, because life is a thought. Let me put the accent on a different part of the sentence. If I did not think, comma, I would not exist, because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as the representation of my own state of mind. I know that my state of mind can change, and so I also know the world I see can change as well. So we know this, but we got to remember, we got to practice it. And discipline is the biggest key here. It's like, for me anyway, is disciplining myself to remind myself and to take the action of this. That what I witness, what I witness out there is the reflection of what I'm thinking. So if I'm witnessing wonder, I'm thinking wonder. And if I'm witnessing woe, I'm thinking woe. No matter how you slice it, every day, all the time, no matter what. Even if I'm on my pity pot, and you see me on my pity pot, you're still, it doesn't mean you can't hug me either. You're still allowed to offer that with each other. But it means that that is what's going on in my mind, your mind, his mind, her mind. Now, if we are in that pure state, we're going to see that. We're going to recognize that. And there's not going to be any judgment, because we're going to be able to go over to that mess. We're going to come right into that in a moment. We're going to be able to now influence their thoughts with our own. But from a purity place instead of from that fear place, which is what we've been doing with each other. Because we do influence each other with our own thoughts. Hence, what I said a moment ago about, have you added wonder to the world or misery with your thoughts? Harmony or discord, same thing. If I did not think, I would not exist. If I did not think, I would not exist. So goes all the way back to, I think, therefore I am. Right? All the way back to the same notion that this gentleman was having all the way back then, of knowing that his own existence only was measured by the fact that he could think about his existence. Because all life is a thought. And that's where this is brought in, going, all life is a thought. Every single thing that is around us has been thought about to be able to be brought into form. What part of the thought do you have? What's your witness? What are you witnessing? So, as I also know that the world I see can change as well. Let's back up a minute. I know that my state of mind can change, and so I also know that the world I see can change. So this is again lending to us back to changing our mind, but sometimes it's hard when you've had a lot of negativity going on for a while, or if you want to just call it the devil, has been feeding you the thoughts, and you've been hanging out there. Whatever personification, fear, white wolf, dark wolf, any way you want to look at it, whatever vibes with you to turn on that circuit breaker to let you know, I've been thinking with that part of me, those private thoughts, those devil thoughts, those fear thoughts, those thoughts that have nothing to do with truth, reality, or spirit. And from that point, I've been creating, and from that point, I've been going, why am I not getting what I want? It's like the door. When you put yourself back in conjunction with what spirit wants, which is free will for us all, joy and harmony, we think that it's like God wants something not well for us. What if He doesn't want something good for me? You see what it is. So we go away from it and go into our own little wants, and that's what this is saying. Is like, that's when you stop creating. That's when you step out of your right mind. Not right left, but right forward thinking, presence of what is truth. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. If I have no private thoughts, I cannot see a private world. Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared before it could form the basis of the world I see. Yet the sharing was a sharing of nothing. I can also call upon my real thoughts, which share everything with everyone. As my thoughts of separation call to the separation in thoughts of others, so will my real thoughts awaken the real thoughts in them. That's what I was kind of talking about a minute ago. In the world my real thoughts show me will dawn on their sight as well as mine. We're going to go back into that one. This is a real groovy paragraph. I like it. It's because it's saying that we do have an effect, and we know we have an effect, and we can look at all the different times in our lives where we can witness the positive effect we've had on somebody, or the negative effect, if we want to be honest with ourselves. To the fact of, I can't see a private world if I have no private thoughts. So if I'm constantly in sharing my thoughts with spirit, then the world I'm going to see, that real world, is going to arise before me. And all this other stuff is going to fade away. So let's go back to just simple examples in your life when you said things like this. Oh gosh, I don't know why I made such a big deal of that. It's really no big deal. And you saw it differently than he had whatever it was the day before, the moment before, the hour before, when he got all entangled in whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, something different just arose before you. A different world of truth. Because somewhere in between there, I'm going to contend that you got right with God. You got right with yourself. You came back into that self-centered part of you. Not self-centered. Centered self part of you. And self-centered too, without the charge of what we think it means. And the water started flowing again. And maybe that little chip of rust that was in the pipe broke free and got out of the way. And then you went, oh, that's right. I feel it. I feel the Spirit moving in me. Just like when you sing it. When we get in the groove of it, we feel it. We start feeling it. And then the world looks different. Things like you're more bright. colorful. Ooh, it's more, I hear chirpy, more chirpy in the morning. What, it's this, yesterday was a cloud-free day too. The weather, matter of fact, I looked at the weather report, exact same stats. Low humidity, 72 degrees, sunny. What did I see differently? This is what this is saying. I have now, not only I have the place to change my world in it, but I can now bring that to you and show you so that your thoughts will start seeing the connection of us instead of seeing the separation of us. So if I walk up to you with separating thoughts, I'm enhancing your separating thoughts. If I walk up to you with purity connecting we are one thoughts, I'm enhancing that within you as well. And vice versa. It's that ripple effect. We do affect each other. And if we think we don't, we're being ridiculous because we're all one. Right? It's like, that big machine, take one cog out, is the machine effective? Yes, it is. Sometimes the machine will still work, make a lot of noise and clunk, but it'll still produce. Maybe we won't get 100 items per minute, it's down to 75, but we're still producing items. Put that one cog back in, we're back up to 100 items per minute, and it's working smoothly, and there's no clunking going on. We are the cogs, we are the machine, we are all of it. We do have an effect on all of it, and we can affect it to better the machine. The more that we're like, I'm a cog, I will be the best cog I can be. I will keep myself polished all the time because I know that frictions happen in this world that may wear me down. So I'll keep myself greased up and lubed and ready to keep the fluidity of the machine. Okay, people. Oh my goodness. Kids know. Now it's on their minds. So, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am alone in nothing. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. A son of God cannot think or speak or act in vain. He and she cannot be alone in anything. It is therefore in my power to change every mind along with mine, for mine is the power of God. We just kind of got done talking about that as well. But this is putting it clearly. It is therefore in my power to change every mind along with mine, because mine is the power of God. Now this doesn't, nowhere in here. Just checking, nope, no double A, not missing any secret codes, where it says, I force feed my will upon another. Didn't say that, because that's not what power is. That's control. There's a big difference. Power does not hurt us. It lifts us up. When people want to use power over another, that power changes into yuckiness and it becomes a controlling factor. Not what this is saying. That the power is within us to change. And we've seen that happen. Let's just look at some people. Martin Luther King. Did he change anybody's ideas? You think he changed any of the thought systems of any of the people in the country at the time? Changed so much that freaked others out. Same with Kennedy, Lincoln, Jesus, Gandhi. There's been all kinds of people that have changed the minds through being present in their purity of love, present in their purity of spirit, present in their purity of knowing that we're all connected and we are one. And this is how we do it. I am determined to see. Recognizing the shared nature of my thoughts, I am determined to see. I would look upon the witnesses that show me the thinking of the world has been changed. I would behold the proof that what has been done through me has enabled love to replace fear, laughter to replace tears, and abundance to replace loss. I would look upon the real world and let it teach me that my will and the will of God are one. That's that desire that's within us. That paragraph is kind of like that true self when we were calling people, saying, hey, this is the truth of who we are. And that will that we have to correct ourselves is that determination we see. Because we want a pure heart, we want to be flowing through. It's innately something that we want to. We know we're connected. The Holy Spirit is constantly calling out to us. I likened it last week as being a transistor between spirit and us, that our bodies didn't blow up, and to keep that line of communication open. Again, we can never be disconnected from our Holy Spirit, but we may be disconnected from the Spirit of somebody. Same thing with God, all that is, whatever. It's all really the same thing. But in bringing to that Trinity point of it and understanding the physical, the metaphysical, and the soul in between. That's kind of what that's lending to. But as this whole series was entitled Beyond Thought and Vision, to get beyond all these things, we have to understand the basics of this. That at all times, we are thinking one way or another. And I'm either thinking a way that is bringing me closer and closer to truth and to having that real world of spirit rise before me, or I'm creating false worlds. So when I look back and be honest with myself, without judgment or flogging, and I'm brilliant at creating false worlds. I have created some of the most ridiculous false worlds that I could have reacted. But this is helping me, right? Because it says, well, when you have those private thoughts, that's what you're going to create. When you think it's just you, I think, therefore I am, and stick to only that, then you're going to create all this mess and then wonder why God's not listening to you. Wondering why you got abandoned by spirit. Wondering why none of your brothers and sisters understand you. It's because of that part of yourself you're thinking with. Back to the sentence, the devil made me do it. Okay, well, did he? Did you make a choice? Because somewhere along the line, we like to be in our ego, and we have to admit that. We have to admit, if we want to get beyond thought and vision, so that we completely see clearly the part of us who likes being separate. No flogging, just admittance, just discovery. Because somewhere we've had these feelings of empowerment, and sometimes, and they're false, it means we're disconnected from truth. But it was the only thing that we knew that made us feel all energized in our body. So this must be so, and me, being more powerful than you, must be right, because, wow, check out how I feel. But let's look all the way down, and all the way down, and all the way down, and by the time he gets, or she gets to the 20th step, that euphoric feeling is gone because it wasn't truth, so it couldn't last. But if I stay with these concepts, I can feel that way all the time, and nobody got put down. Nobody got pressed down. Matter of fact, the more people I lift up along the way, by bringing that witness, that pure witness, and being the one that can influence their positivity and their God mind, by simply bringing my God mind all the time, I get to feel even greater. And it's still not that ego great. It's still not that puffing out your chest great. There's no puff. Matter of fact, to be sitting on the ground, just feeling great. Feeling like you're levitating 10 feet off. Because your spirit's expanded so big because it doesn't need to be closed down anymore, because it knows it can broaden and broaden and broaden and broaden and broaden, and it's safe because there's no separation. We're so afraid from leaving our bodies, we're afraid we're going to die. We're so afraid to have an astral projection because we're afraid we're not going to come back to the shell. And I know I'm going off track a little bit, but it's all part of it if you want to believe that you're a broader being. You are a broader being. If you think with God thoughts, you're going to start seeing your broader being. You can have. This book doesn't like the word magic, apparently, but I have no charge on the word magic, because to me it's benevolence, it's wonder. To me, that's the translation of it. That magic is going to happen for in your life. And it's going to be awesome, but as the Course teaches, miracles aren't awesome, they're a natural state of being. We just forgot to witness them so much that they seem awesome. As we can do this more and more and more, they're going to be more and more natural to us. This natural state of being is going to have that world rise and rise and rise more before you. And you're going to see clearly for the first time in your life, perhaps, meaning, I'm saying no one's going to see clearly. You're going to see more and more clearly. What's that Godspell? I don't really like the whole play, but I like a couple songs out of it. Day by day, see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly. Okay, now take the God part, deity, out of it and just sing to yourself. And sing to each other. because that's one that will always get me. Can I see you more clearly? Can I love you more dearly? Can I follow you more nearly? And know that I'm following me, and know that when you follow me, you're following you, and all that. Can I do that from that place that makes me all mushy, which just means I got moved and I'm feeling it? I feel the Spirit moving in me. The same feeling to know that in that song, or in that tear, or in that looking in someone's eyes. So now we're going to do a little exercise to wrap this whole series up. We just see real quick how many people we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, and 14. So there's an even number of people right here. So what I would like everybody to do is simple. Look around the room, all corners of the room. The front row, look at the front of the room. The back row, look at the back of the room. You two, look at that side, and if you will, you two, look at that side. For a minute, not even a minute, for like a couple seconds. All right. Eyes front. One word, one thing you saw.
Peace.
Wait a minute. We're going to go in order. Lights. I didn't hear. Lotus.
Over.
Balance.
Peace.
Okay, these are the words that you guys saw. Music, lights, Debbie, Lotus, peach, doorway, altar, altar, I am, fill it, balance, peace, peace, looking. Does any of that mean anything? Does it mean anything? Let me say it backwards. Looking, peace, peace, balance, Philip, I am, altar, altar, doorway, peach, Lotus, Debbie, lights, music. In a sentence, can you find any meaning from that sentence? Did it bring up any deep, moving emotions in anybody? Because they have no meaning. They're just items that you all saw. But the moment I interact with these items, that's when they have meaning to me. The moment I start moving about the physical 3D world with these items, that's when I may start to have feeling. So now we're going to do another thing, and it's perfect right here. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Face each other and close your eyes. You guys can do it if you choose. So close your eyes. And when I give you the direction to open your eyes, I want you to open your eyes and look right in the person's eyes in front of you. So it'll be on 3. Nothing else but their eyes. 1, 2, 3. And breathe. Come on back. So, just from the witness, from what I'm seeing in this moment, all the smiles on your faces are a lot different than when I read this list. the serenity I see in everyone's eyes are a lot different than anything I saw in your faces when I just read this list. You barely interacted with each other, but can I ask you a simple question? Did you feel anything? Did it have meaning? I know I'm a big mush, but this is all I want for people. I'm a simple man and not a simpleton, because I'm very smart, but sometimes I wish I was a simpleton, because this is all I really want. Because again, the dynamics from me being able to look out when you guys were looking at each other and a couple of you lingered, just went, hang out. That is purity. That is meaningful. That's what's going to keep us harmonizing with each other. That's what is real. That's reality. And that's how I'm going to close this series with the wonder of you. Thank you. I'm going to talk about it.